off a daily fantasy. His number too high, then I'm probably fading him. He been on the road, he gon' eat up my salary. I hit up by, he gon' lie before lock. Play back to back, then I probably won't pick on the Dfs Bachelor, good as it gets. Build a few liners and hit me a leg. He had a good game, but it might be a trick. Log in the Slack so I know who to pick. Sharing our liners, we all gon' get rich. New to this game, you should come to the pad. You might want some cash and get a good laugh. Dfs Sports, we gon' run up a bag. He heard every game and it's making me mad. You buying your lineups, I think you a cheater. Dfs Bachelor, he the new leader, yeah.
Hey, what's up, everyone? Welcome back to the Bachelor Pad. I, of course, am your host of Dfs Bachelor, and you know what? We got 2 games on Monday Night Football, and one of them starts pretty early, especially here on the West Coast, so we're going to stay up a little late on Sunday and get our Monday Night Football Draftkings and Fanduel DFS video up. First things first, a big thank you to all of you for all your support, your kind words, making me a part of your day, embracing the guests that we have on now, rolling with the new way the show works, and I really appreciate all of that. It's truly humbling, so thank you so much. If you're new to the channel, welcome to the team. Big cheers to you all. Hope you had a good Sunday. I had a nice Sunday of DFS. Missed a couple picks in terms of my bets, but in terms of DFS, it went really well, so I hope you all had a great weekend or a great Sunday as well. But if you're new to the channel, like I was saying, hit that subscribe button if you're so inclined to do so. I appreciate that. Hit the like button. It helps the video and the channel more than you know. And leave a comment in the comment section. By doing that, those 3 things, you qualify for our weekly $50 PayPal giveaway, sponsored by my friends over at Tax Relief Advocates, making your tax debt disappear faster than the Patriots made me look stupid today by losing to Denver. So there we go. We have all of that out there. Also, don't forget, if you want my player pool cheat sheet projections for baseball, still going on for baseball, for the NFL, of course, for every slate for the NFL, target, snaps, usage. I do a weekly wide receiver cornerback cheat sheet, giving you the top 10 best and worst matchups of the week. Also do a weekly rankings for you season-long players. You can get access to all that and my player pool, the lineup optimizer, the mass lineup generator, late swap optimizer, all sorts of stuff there, cash game optimizers, etc. Simply by clicking that link in the video description below, you can try Draft Dashboard for 30 days for $1. And don't forget, over at Overlay DFS right now, overlaydfs.com, they are doing a giveaway where if you post at Overlay on Twitter, at Overlay DFS, your 3-pick parlay, you can win a free membership into my Slack chat. I literally haven't opened up that Slack chat for, about 2 years. We've had the same group of people, a small group. We discuss lineups, strategy, questions. It's a little inappropriate, so if you're faint of heart, maybe sometimes you don't want to be in there because we do have a lot of fun in there. But check out Overlay DFS. Can have a lot of fun over there. By the way, the number for Tax Relief Advocates, $1,000, $5,000, $10,000. If the government is messing with your money, give them a call at 1-800-411-9633. A big thank you to them for sponsoring that weekly giveaway. We announced that winner during our Saturday final look video. So we got 2 games Monday night. It's not a showdown. We've got the Chiefs at the Bills, and of course we've got the Cardinals at the Cowboys. The Chiefs-Bills game is first. A little bit of dicey weather in that game. Looks like it's going to be, like mid to high 40s and some possible rain there in Buffalo. You start here at quarterback. Look, Buffalo 28th against opposing quarterbacks. Mahomes, of course, has huge upside. Buffalo's defense has not been very good. You worry a little bit about the weather being on the road. Of all the defenses on this slate, Buffalo is the more talented defense. You can maybe argue Kansas City as well, but they just haven't shown it so far. So there should be points in this game despite the weather. I do like Patrick Mahomes. 7-5 on DraftKings, 8-7 on Fanduel. Remember, this is a 2-game slate, so you're going to want to do things different. And, we're going to talk about Andy Dalton here in just a moment, but leaving some salary on the table in these 2-game slates is one really good way of differentiating yourself in those tournaments from all the other casual fans and people who are so compelled to use all of their salary. Kyler Murray is probably my favorite quarterback tomorrow. I think Dallas is one of the worst, if not the worst, defense in the NFL. Maybe the Jets right there. He's 7-3 on DraftKings, 8-4 on FanDuel. Dallas is 20th against opposing quarterbacks. He's got big-time upside. Love the rushing upside as well for Kyler Murray. Nothing less than a 24 this season. A couple of 30s in there. I love Kyler Murray tomorrow. I think he has a big game, or Monday, I should say, depending on when you watch this. Next is Josh Allen. Yeah, and Josh Allen, I love the salary savings. He's the third most expensive quarterback. He's got that rushing upside. Now, the Chiefs are 10th against opposing quarterbacks. The secondary is getting healthier with Bashad Breeland back. I do like Josh Allen quite a bit. I like all three of these quarterbacks. If I had to rank them right now, I'll take Murray number 1, Mahomes 2, Allen 3, and then, of course, we get to Andy Dalton. Now, if you want to be contrarian and different, sure, you can play Andy Dalton, making his first start for Dallas. He did put up a 19 last year against the Cardinals, but let me tell you something about Andy Dalton. He is one of the worst, if not the worst, primetime quarterback of all time. 6-15 lifetime, 26 touchdowns, 16 interceptions during his career with actually very talented Bengals teams. It's not like he had terrible teams, and that's why his team sucked in primetime. Andy Dalton just sucks in primetime. Now, does it give you a ton of savings? Is he going to be the lowest owned quarterback? Most likely. So if you want to throw him in a tournament, sure. Just letting you know, proceed with caution. Andy Dalton is absolutely fucking horrendous on primetime. He is god-awful on primetime. That's probably the title of my sex tape. There you go. Right there. Let's move on to running back. Of course, Zeke. Arizona allowing the 8th most fantasy points in the league to opposing running backs. 7-7. DraftKings 9-1. Fanduel going to have a ton of Zeke. You're going to want a ton of Zeke. The Cowboys should absolutely be relying on Zeke Elliott now with Andy Dalton at quarterback. Zeke's in line for a big game. He's going to be very popular, no doubt about it, but he's certainly in line for a big game. Then you got Clyde Edwards-Helaire. Now there is some talk that Le'Veon Bell will make his debut tomorrow for Kansas City. Now, he was a little banged up with the Jets, had just made his first game back. He hasn't been with the team very long, so how much they'll use him is a big question. And right now, unless they add him tomorrow, on Monday, I'm doing this video Sunday night, Le'Veon Bell is not on either FanDuel or DraftKings slate for tomorrow. So Clyde Edwards-Helaire is the Chiefs running back you're going to want. He's at 6K. Buffalo 14th against opposing running backs. Pretty good against the run. I don't have a ton of interest in Edwards-Helaire. He's certainly in my player pool. You know, if I'm making 50 lineups, 20 lineups, of course I'm going to have some sprinkles of Clyde Edwards-Helaire. Just not my favorite play tomorrow. Then we get Devin Singletary. Sort of the same situation. I'm not huge on him. I like the price. 5-1 DraftKings, 5-7 FanDuel. Kansas City, that's the weakness of their defense, is stopping the run. They're 25th right now against opposing running backs in terms of fantasy points allowed. But Zach Moss should be returning tomorrow, so that could hurt his workload. Definitely going to have a little bit of exposure. I do think there's some options lower here that you can go to, but Singletary, absolutely. You could throw him in there. Not huge on him. I'm worried about Zach Moss coming back. When Zach Moss was playing earlier in the year, it was sort of a 50-50 split with those two. So you just want to make sure, coming off a bad week last week against Tennessee, the whole Buffalo offense looked bad against Tennessee. Let's just call it what it is. I do expect them to bounce back in this game. A little concerned about the weather. The weather makes him run the football more than a guy like Singletary, and Edwards-Helaire could be super valuable. Then you find something pretty interesting here with the Cardinals running backs. Chase Edmonds, the backup, is $100 more expensive on DraftKings and on FanDuel than is Kenyon Drake. Now, Kenyon Drake is playing 67% of the offensive snaps. Chase Edmonds, 37%. Chase Edmonds, 12 targets over the last 2 weeks. He's really sort of taken over that passing down back, which is really surprising considering Kenyon Drake was targeted 5.6 per game last year after joining the Cardinals. He's been getting the groundwork. Look, 18, 13, and 18 carries the last 3 weeks, but he's only been targeted 2 times. He's only been targeted 6 times the entire season. It's really bizarre. But Dallas, bad defense, could see a lot of points in this game. He got a nice total at 54.5. I'm playing Kenyon Drake. I like pairing him with Zeke. I'm getting a salary savings. I'm always going to take the starter over the backup for $100 cheaper. And, you know, if Chase Edmonds has a huge game, then so be it. But I like Kenyon Drake. And there's just no one else. If Zach Moss officially gets ruled in, if you want to be super contrarian, I suppose you could throw him in, or maybe even a Tony Pollard. But I think you can go down here to the Singletary, Drake, and Edmonds and have plenty of salary to make your lineups. So I'm not really reaching for that tomorrow. Let's get to the wide receiver position. And there's quite a few good plays. Of course, DeAndre Hopkins. Dallas has allowed the 3rd most fantasy points in the league to opposing wide receivers. The entire secondary for Dallas, if you look at the wide receiver cornerback matchups for Hopkins, Larry Fitz in the slot, and Christian Kirk, they're going to be matched up with Darryl Worley, gives up 0.35 fantasy points per route ran against. Jordan Lewis, probably the worst slot corner in the league, gives up 0.62 fantasy points per route ran against. Trayvon Diggs, 0.42 fantasy points per route ran against. All the Cardinals receivers have big time upside against that bad secondary. I like Hopkins. I don't even mind Larry Fitz a little bit. Super cheap down here at 3,700. If you want to get real cute, you can go to Andy Isabella. He's going to play a lot less now that Christian Kirk is healthy. And then you get Christian Kirk at 4,500. Excellent value play tomorrow. Like all three of those Cardinals receivers. When you look at the Dallas receivers, let's talk about their passing game. Shall we go one by one and discuss the wide receiver cornerback matchups? Again, a big cheers to you all. So, if you look at Dallas, of course, they're super talented at wide receiver. Cooper, CeeDee Lamb, Michael Gallup. It's not a bad matchup tomorrow. You just worry about Andy Dalton. And you're getting Amari Cooper at 5,500. It's freaking crazy. CeeDee Lamb's 300 more. You're getting Amari Cooper as the fifth highest priced receiver on a 2-game slate is insane. So I do love Amari Cooper. He's going to be shadowed by Patrick Peterson. Patrick Peterson's a very good corner, obviously giving up 0.25 fantasy points per out ran against. Michael Gallup's going to see a ton of Dre Kirkpatrick on the other side, giving up 0.28 fantasy points per out ran against. And CeeDee Lamb, who lines up in the slot 93% of his offensive snaps, we'll see Byron Murphy giving up 0.29 fantasy points per out ran against. I have some exposure to all three. I think that price for Amari Cooper is awfully cheap, and after a disappointing week last week and the regression at quarterback to Dalton, I think he's going to be lower owned than he should be. I'm definitely going to have some Amari Cooper and Michael Gallup. When you look at the Chiefs and the Bills, these are two good secondaries. John Brown is questionable tomorrow. Again, you can follow me on Twitter at Dfs Bachelor. As soon as I know, you guys will know. Now, he was a full participant Thursday and Friday. Then they reduced him to a limited participant on Saturday. So that does give you a little bit of pause, but if he does play, he's going to spend 92% of his time on the perimeter. He's going to see either Bashaud Breeland or Charvarius Ward. Charvarius Ward has actually not been playing very well, and Stephon Diggs should see him on about 37% of his offensive routes. Charvarius Ward's been getting torched this year for 0.53 fantasy points per out ran against. So I do like Stephon Diggs. I like his target share. He's been targeted 29 times over the last 3 weeks. I mean, double-digit fantasy points in every game this year. Stephon Diggs, DeAndre Hopkins, both in great spots. Cole Beasley in the slot's going to see Rashad Fenton, who's been giving up 0.35 fantasy points per out ran against, and then John Brown. If John Brown's unable to go, young guy for the Bills, Gabriel Davis at 3,500, I think could be an interesting contrarian play. Injury news, by the way, for the Chiefs. No Sammy Watkins this week. He is out with an injury. So Mecole Hardman's going to step in as that number 2 wide receiver, and then you're going to see more Demarcus Robinson. So Tyreek Hill defensively, he's probably going to see, he lines up in the slot 57% of the time. Now, will Tre'Davious White follow him into the slot? Probably not. So there's going to be a lot of Teron Johnson, who has not looked good. So as you can see, we've got some good wide receiver plays to match with their quarterbacks. So making a multiple lineups tomorrow is probably the route to go. Again, the weather situation in Buffalo is something to monitor. And then, of course, on the outside, Mecole Hardman will see a lot of Josh Norman, giving up 0.42 fantasy points per out ran against. And then on the other side, Demarcus Robinson, who I'm not putting in the player pool just yet. He plays a ton of snaps. He did last year. He just doesn't get targeted a lot. It's going to be a lot of Kelsey and Hilaire, maybe Le'Veon Bell, and, of course, Tyreek Hill and Hardman. So even though he's on the field a lot, I think I'd rather pay even if John Brown plays, I'd probably rather pay $200 more for Gabriel Davis, or maybe come down here to Cedric Wilson, who, even though he plays fewer snaps, at least he's targeted in the passing game. If you want to get real contrarian, we sort of talked about this last week, especially in Showdown, if you're just playing this game as a Showdown. Isaiah McKenzie's super cheap. They're going to do that little sweeping jet pass thing in the goal line, and he has some, target upside. So there is some contrarian plays there, especially in the Showdown. I don't mind Isaiah McKenzie, but Gabriel Davis, I like a little more than Demarcus Robinson. He will see a lot of Tre'Davious White as well. So that's the wide receiver cornerback matchups, and the wide receivers, always the longest set on the slate. Then a tight end, it's very simple. So for Buffalo, Dawson Knox is out. So Tyler Kroft is going to be the tight end if you want to play a tight end from Buffalo. They don't go to the tight end all that often in this offense. It's a lot of Cole Beasley, whom I like quite a bit at 4,300. I talked about that. It's going to see Rashad Fenton. They just don't do it very often. They go to Beasley and Brown and McKenzie and Singletary. They go to their running backs and wide receivers. But Tyler Kroft, if you're looking to do something different, he's going to see the bulk of tight end work tomorrow with Dawson Knox ruled out tomorrow. Of course, Travis Kelce, Buffalo giving up the third most fantasy points in the league to opposing tight ends. Dalton Schultz Andy Dalton likes throwing to his tight ends. Refer back to those Tyler Eifert years when Tyler Eifert was a fantasy monster. He was catching those touchdowns, of course, from Andy Dalton. So I still don't, even though, they lose Dak Prescott, I do not mind Dalton Schultz at 4,300 as well. And then Tyler Kroft's the only other tight end I would consider. Dan Arnold's basically the starting tight end for Arizona. He plays about 53% of the snaps. He and Darrell Daniels sort of, kind of split the work there. The problem is the Cardinals go four wide more than any other team in the league. They're going to throw to their backs and their wide receivers well before they throw to the tight ends. It's a super, super contrarian play. If you're playing 150 lineups, you want to sprinkle them in, fine. I don't have a ton of interest there. Kelsey and Schultz would be the two tight ends I will be targeting tomorrow the most, of course. And then defensively, the Cardinals are the best play. It's Andy Dalton on primetime. I feel really good about playing the Cardinals defense, even though it's on the road. Because Andy Dalton, I talked about it. 26 touchdowns, 16 interceptions in 21 primetime evening games. 6-15 for his career is his record. Andy Dalton is a fucking dumpster fire on primetime. Now, I might be jinxing him. I did that to the Broncos today. Or, I did it to the my Rams pick. I did that on purpose so my 49ers would win. But just saying, talk it up. It's very possible like Andy Dalton could just come out and have the fucking game of his life on primetime. I doubt it. I don't think so. I don't like Andy Dalton on primetime. I like the Cardinals defense. The only other defense I'd really consider is the Chiefs defense against Buffalo. I'm going to have a vast majority of Cardinals defense. The Bills at home, look, if the weather gets real nasty, it's not that the Chiefs will make mistakes and turn the ball over, but maybe they can hold them to less points. But I simply don't see it. I think the Cardinals defense is the way to go tomorrow, and I have absolutely no desire to play the Cowboys. You could sprinkle Bills, Chiefs, Cardinals. I rank them like this. Cardinals number 1, probably Bills number 2 for the salary saving, Chiefs 3, and then Cowboys dead last. So that's our look at Monday Night Football. Again, if you want my player pool, you want the stats, the snap stats, projected ownerships, lineup optimizer, click that link in the video description below. You can try Draft Dashboard for 30 days for $1. When you do that, how you find my player pool, I get asked this quite a bit, is you simply click on your watched players, the players that you have marked to use for whether it's just your optimizer, for research, however you're doing it. Then if you use that link, you'll see a blue box at the top that says Watch Dfs Bachelor's Picks. And it'll also timestamp it in Eastern Time when I last updated it as well. Then we can go to the lineup optimizer. We'll make a couple sample lineups for this. So let's spit out here with my player pool. Kyler Murray, Clyde Edwards-Helaire, Kenyon Drake, Hardman, Hill, Diggs, Tyler Kroft, DeAndre Hopkins, and the Cardinals D. I don't mind that. Now, I would probably like to get Zeke Elliott in there. If I do that, I'm going to have to save. Probably drop from either Tyreek Hill or Stephon Diggs. Pick your poison there. They're both great plays. Then you can get down to a guy like Amari Cooper. That's using your whole salary. So there's probably going to be people who have it, but you're getting a little different with Kroft and maybe Hardman, etc. So if you want to leave $100 on the table, then maybe go to a different defense, or you change up and go a little cheaper at running back. It's up to you. I actually really like this lineup. I hate that it has all the salary left on it. Maybe a nice single entry lineup, etc. I think that's really, really nice for tomorrow. We could save that. Let's go over to Fanduel. Haven't been playing a ton of Fanduel lately. I'm really frustrated with their bullshit and their live scoring and their nonsense. It's just getting old. Here we go. Here's a Pat Mahomes lineup. So we got Mahomes, Helaire, Zeke, Hopkins, Beasley, Christian Kirk, whom I really like tomorrow, Dalton Schultz, Larry Fitz, and the Cardinals defense, and that leaves 300 on the table. I think that's absolutely viable. It's a little bit different. Now, I know Larry Fitz might scare some people. You can go to Gabriel Davis, especially if John Brown is out, to be a little different, a lower-owned guy. Again, just kind of an example. That's how you do it. That's how you use it. That's how you find the player pool. Again, don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel, leave a comment, qualify for our $50 PayPal giveaway. Thank you again to all of you for making me a part of your day, for your support and your kind words. A big cheers to you all. May the fantasy gods be with you. I'll see you live tomorrow. I'll be live at Sportsbook Review. We'll be covering the Chiefs-Bills game, so it'll be 5 o'clock Eastern, 2 o'clock Pacific. The show will start 1:30 and 4:30, and we'll cover that first game. We'll be live the whole game, watch party, have a few drinks. So there's a link to Sportsbook Review, to their channel. Come over there and check us out over there as well. Thank you all again so much. Goodbye, folks.